Well, tonight, the minority in parliament abandoned proceedings and stormed out, trekking close to 3 kilometers to EOCO, where they staged a dramatic sit-down demanding the 50 million cedis bail slapped on Chairman Wontumi be slashed and his release secured without delay.
So all we're saying is that they should vary the bail condition, let the man seek medical treatment, and that's all. We only want audience. What is happening to Wontumi can happen to me today, tomorrow. It can happen to my respected senior here tomorrow. My mother here. Enough is enough. We are not just going to walk away. We are not just going to walk away. We'll be here.
But where is Chairman Wontumi? The MPP now says his whereabouts remain unknown, with EOCO now playing hide and seek with him.
We have asked of his whereabouts and they are unable to confirm. We've asked of the director. We have been told that the Director General is not here. That is Romondacha. His deputies are not here. Look, we demand that there should be fairness in all of this.
And what is the position of the majority in Parliament?
A decision of an institution can be challenged at the court if a security agency poses a bail condition that we feel that the bail condition is harsh. I do not think Parliament will have the authority to call for a review of that particular decision.
We have details, plus take you live to the EOCO headquarters, where we understand just before we came in, the minority were still at the premises. We'll go for update on what exactly is happening and whether or not they will be there till midnight of today. Here on Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, Connecting Energies. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace.
With all I will and mine forevermore. And help us to raise this oppressors with all I will and mine forevermore. We are the new.
Well, tonight the minority in Parliament abandoned proceedings and storm out of the House. They storm out of the House, trekking nearly 3 kilometers to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, where they staged a dramatic sit-down protest. Their demand that the 50 million cedis bail slapped on MPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Nchibosiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, be reviewed downwards. Now, they also called for his immediate release. Earlier, while in Parliament, the minority described the bail conditions as excessively harsh and a tool being used by EOCO to punish Chairman Wontumi. Meanwhile, leadership of the MPP and scores of supporters have also gathered at the EOCO office just before we came in. Members of the minority sat on the street vowing not to move until Chairman Wontumi is released. They later went to stand in front of the EOCO office, and they're asking that Chairman Wontumi be released and his bail terms varied. My colleague Kwasante has been embedded in all of this, and he will be joining us with update. But a while ago, before we came into the studio, they had then moved from sitting down on the road to standing at the barricade the police had erected right in front of the EOCO office. And but we do know that in Parliament, the minority leader Alexander Afeomakin raised concerns about the bail conditions imposed on Chairman Wontumi and the frustrations they've encountered trying to secure his release. But this is how it started.
Bail must not be used as a punishment. Mr. Speaker, there are two key conditions in my few years of practice in that area of the law, criminal law, The man must have a fixed place of abode and must assure that he will make himself available for any trial or any investigation. EOCO, I must emphasize, because this is a house of record, he is unwell now, and it's been 48 hours. Mr. Speaker, EOCO does not have a health facility. So they have transferred him to the NIB health facility. NIB has a small clinic, but Mr. Speaker, is that clinic able to give him the treatment he needs? Mr. Speaker, I must argue one more time that EOCO cannot arrogate the power of demanding justification at the inquiry level. You are doing investigation. The matter is not before a court for trial. And then you make the bail conditions so onerous. It is clear that this is being used to punish him.
Well, so that's the minority leader, Alexander Afenyomarkin, there in Parliament, even before they walked to the EOCO head office. But my colleague Kweku Asante is joining me on the phone lines now. Kweku, bring us up to speed as to the latest at where you are, the EOCO headquarters.
Well, as we see, the members of Parliament are still right in front of the EOCO building. They have not left. In fact, when they got here around 3 p.m., they did take their seats on the floor. And they did have some conversation with some police officers that are stationed right there. Their demand was that they wanted to be the top brass of EOCO to try and get an understanding of whether or not they intend to listen to them on their call to revise the bail conditions, because at the center of the minorities' protest is their call that a 50 million bail condition is unreasonable and must be revised so that Wontumi can meet them and go home. When they did raise this matter on the floor, the First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, who was presiding, did make the point that if the minority were pressed about a 50 million city bail condition, what they have to do and what is lawful is to go to a high court and have that bill revised or anything by the discretion of a judge, instead of seeking to use Parliament to pressure state institutions from doing their job. This is the First Deputy Speaker who will press the minority to rather go to court.
What then is expected of Parliament? I believe this is a matter that can adequately be addressed by the judiciary. For me, if a decision of an institution can be challenged at the court, if a security agency poses a bail condition that you feel that the bail condition is harsh, I do not think Parliament will have the authority to call for a review of that particular decision. If a person is detained beyond the stipulated constitutional period, what he should do is very clear.
So now, Kweku, then the minority did what many say is unprecedented. They walked nearly 3 kilometers from Parliament to EOCO. How did that happen?
Well, yes, the minority leader, before concluding his speech, did give the indication that they will not be part of any parliamentary business today, tomorrow, any other day, until Wontumi's bail conditions have been revised. Once he finished the speech and the speaker replied him, all of them did get up and they walked out. They did walk out specifically right from the gates of Parliament House, walking straight to the EOCO head office, where they continue to make their demand. A number of NPP MPs that I've been speaking to have been telling me what I think. The question I've been putting to them specifically was the request or the admonition that have been given them by the First Deputy Speaker that they must go to court on this matter. They said, well, a protest is something that is also open to them, but they continued in their assistance that the bail condition that had been set was simply unreasonable.
We are mounting pressure on each and everyone who has decided to blatantly disregard the rule of law, to disregard due process, We are not against accountability. What we are against is the breaches. Is it persecution or prosecution? It's just worrisome, and we need to step up now. And that is why we have decided to walk from the chamber to EOCO, and we are not going to be part of the processes or proceedings until Chairman Wontumi is released.
We are not against criminal investigations. We are against the processes that is being applied now. This is an affront to our democracy, and we think it's important that we do this march, go to EOCO.
Bail conditions, as we have indicated, is outrageous. It doesn't accord to any level of reasonability.
This is politics. It's not law, it's politics. And that is why we have to draw the attention to it that this is unacceptable. They are using the coercive power of the state in an attempt to intimidate political opponents.
Is that reasonable for an investigative body to insist that I need a property worth 50 million before I can grant him bail? Have you finished with the investigation? What's the purpose of asking for that money? That's why we are here, because the bail condition is unreasonable. It's so unreasonable.
Well, Kweku, then the whole thing about them deciding to sit on the road started. But you were there. Tell us about that particular moment when they decided we'll sit in the middle of the road.
When the NPP MPs arrived, they formed a line just about 5 meters in front of the EOCO office. They held hands, and the minority leader did try to speak to some lawyers, and then all I saw was that the minority chief whip Frank Anodompe was asking MPs to actually take their seat on the floor. In fact, every single NPP MP who was here did take their seat on the floor, with the exception of the female MPs, including the deputy leader Patricia PJ, who was given a plastic chair to sit, obviously because of the straight dress she was wearing. All of them did take their seats. They had a seat on the floor. They sat there for a while. It was on the floor that we interviewed the minority leader, Alexander Peño-Makin, who said they will continue to be here to resist what they call oppressors' rule, to demand that Chairman Wontumi's bail condition be revised so that he can be freed.
They are better than CID headquarters. Those in charge must be professional. What is happening to Wontumi can happen to me today, tomorrow. It can happen to my respected senior here, tomorrow. My mother here. Enough is enough. We are not just going to walk away. We are not just going to walk away. We'll be here. We'll be here.
Well, Kweku, so tell us about the MPP leadership. Are they also, we saw Nana be there, but apart from him, did you see anybody else, and what have they been telling you?
In the last 3 days that Chairman Wontumi has been in the custody of EOCO, a host of top NPP leadership have been here, particularly led by the General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong. Today he has not been here, but the national organizer, Henry Nanaboach, actually joined the members of parliament right from the stadium, and they walked to this place. When we spoke to him, he said, as of now, they do not even know the whereabouts of Chairman Wontumi, and they continue to insist that the EOCO must come front and center with them and explain to them where exactly Chairman Wontumi is and his state as we speak.
We have asked of his whereabouts, and they are unable to confirm. We've asked of the director. We have been told that the Director General is not here. That is the Mondacha. His deputies are not here. Look, we demand that there should be fairness in all of this. He was ambushed and he was picked up. I would say it's a kidnap. Now, we don't even know his whereabouts. We are here. The entire minority caucus walked from parliament, and then somebody here says that, oh, Wontumi is not here. This is most unfortunate. Is this a certain political show of bravado? We are a nation of rules, laws. What is happening here? And I keep saying, President Mahama, what is happening here? President Mahama, what is happening in this country?
Well, Kweku, have you seen Chairman Wontumi's lawyers, and have they been telling you anything, or have you been able to gather something from them?
Yes, initially I did speak to one of the members of Chairman Wontumi's legal team, who told me that they are simply unable to meet the bail conditions that have been set by EOCO. Of course, he did indicate what we've all come to know, that already one person has actually stood up to stand as surety for Wontumi, but they are unable to meet the rest of the bail condition, including the 50 million part of this. But just when I was speaking to you, I've just seen the General Secretary himself. He has just arrived here, who has come to join the members of Parliament to drum home the demand for these bail conditions to be revised. But there's also a host of party supporters who are here and others who just do not care about it. There are those who feel this is an avenue to make money. There are those who say that, in fact, they've been throwing money. One person telling James Aveji sometime that he did get 1,300 CD from some party officials who threw money at them. And there are those who say that the NPP must go and get the bail conditions, satisfy that, and get Wontumi out and stop, in his words, disturbing people who are trying to use these rules to go about their normal business.
So that's Kweku Asante there, who's been embedded in this all throughout. He is there with James Aveji. But there's been some reactions to this whole development. Lawyer Apiaje Tia says the demands of the minority is something for the judiciary to decide.
The person can go to court for the court to vary the bail conditions.
Right.
So this situation, I don't see why members of parliament should leave the presence of parliament where they are supposed to perform the business of parliament, to make laws and to ensure that other functions that they're entitled to, for which they are paid, should be left hanging, and then they come to EOCO to ask for the release of somebody who is alleged to have committed an offense. I think it is not a very nice picture to see, and it doesn't speak well of our members of parliament in the opposition.
This is Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies. Let's now bring in the MPP's national organizer, Henry Nanabuachi. He's been there all throughout. Henry, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. You said earlier that you didn't know the whereabouts of Chairman Wontumi. What do you know now about him?
Yes, when we walked from Parliament to the head office of EOCO, we spoke to one man who said that the Director General is unavailable. His deputies are unavailable. He cannot confirm where Chairman Wontumi is now. Later on, he mentioned that he's been taken to the BNI clinic also. In fact, all the things he was saying appeared to be disjointed. They were not giving us any proper information. And Kojo, I've said it yesterday, I spoke to you. I mean, this is most unfortunate. I mean, you invite somebody, he travels all the way from Kumasi to Accra. That person will not run away. The person cooperated with a particular investigative body, that is a CID. He reported the following day. And just when he was exiting, he was ambushed and picked up to EOCO. We were told that he was under interrogation. That is fine. As we speak, it's been 51 hours since his arrest. We are being told that they intend to grant him bail, obviously based on some conditions. We are of the view that the conditions are highly unreasonable, it's onerous, it's repressive, and most unfortunate. Clearly, you could see that it is just an agenda to put some impediment in the way so as Chairman Wontumi will be unable to satisfy the bail condition.
But Henry, isn't 50 million something that you could get friends of the NPP or members of the NPP to stand sureties for him and get him out?
You see, the unfortunate thing is that even if you get these documents, then they tell you, we are going to Land Commission to verify, we are going here for authentication, we are moving here to validate the authenticity of this document. Clearly, you could see that they are unwilling, and it is just to place this huge impediment in the way of Chairman Wontumi Chairman Wontumi's ability to fulfill the bill conditions. That is why the New Patriotic Party, the leadership, we support the minority caucus. That, I mean, what has he done? He is not running away. Wontumi is a known person. He's a known figure. He has properties here. He owns businesses here. He owns radio stations, TV stations. So where is he running to? If it is not a certain show of political bravado, yes, let's show this man where power lies. And I keep saying this, look, all of these things, what is happening is with the approval of the president.
No, but Henry,
isn't the president was briefed yesterday at a security meeting, and he's aware of all of these things. But it's most unfortunate. I am not sure that is why many Ghanaians voted for him.
But what do you expect him to do when EOCO is performing the duties that the law that set them up confers on them?
Kojo, we don't have a problem. We are talking about the processes. We are talking about the intention behind it. And anybody can read in between the lines that this is unfair. This is clearly unfair. It's unreasonable. I mean, that is why if you just consider all that has happened since Monday, I've just mentioned on your show, CID invites him. He went there peacefully. He was told to come again the following day. And just when he's exiting, he's ambushed and picked up. So you can see that all of these things are unreasonable, very unfair.
So you want the president to intervene?
No, what I'm saying is that he's the president. I'm not sure that what is going on he's happy with. Now, minority says that they're not going to be part of parliamentary business. They have all walked right from parliament to the office of the EOCO. As I speak, we are here. Is that what the president wants?
Okay.
When things can be done in a different way?
All right. Henry, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. He is the national organizer of the MPP. He says still they don't know where exactly Chairman Wontumi is. Let's bring in Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He's NDC's Deputy Director of Elections and IT. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. And now the MPP is saying this is a show of bravado. I mean, the person is someone who is not difficult to get. I mean, he walked into CID. Wouldn't it be okay for EOCO to consider and relook at the request by the MPP that take a look at the conditions again?
Let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners. This, our government, is not their type. The kind of governance that Ghanaians went through under their regime, that is not what we are going to save the people of Ghana. We will make sure that the law works. The law is the law. We are in the era of the law is in the law. We should allow the security agencies to do their work. The fact that somebody is a national chairman of a party or national what and what of the party doesn't stop the way from operating. Don't forget, Chairman Ampofo was the national chairman of the NDC. They bundled him to come and face justice throughout their regime. We didn't hit the road. Minority didn't go this kind of lawless thing that they are doing over there. I mean, let's allow the law to work. Why is he trying to draw the president into this matter? What has the president got to do with this? Anything that they are doing, they want to draw in the president. It's the president who is controlling the security agencies to do their work. Under their regime, is that what they are now telling us? They want us to now believe that Nanado was the one who was controlling the arrest of Chikata when he was worshipping his God. You will follow him to church to arrest him. The current Attorney General, Ayini, they went to his house and bundled him out. This we are going to go count the number of illegal arrests, bravado arrests that you did. We can write a novel of it.
So is this tit for tat?
That is not what we don't want to hear at all. We don't want to go that tangent at all. Our government is not there to say, because you did this, we are also coming to do that. No. That is why you see that as a political party, NDC, we don't want to interfere in this matter. But the fact that they want to draw the presidency into the matter, that is why as a party we are coming to do, because we want to protect the sanctity of the presidency. Nobody should undermine his authority.
But you've kept the man for more than 48 hours. Is that lawful?
they have given me a bail bond to pay. It's not that he's going to bring the 15 million Ghana cedis to them. They say bring documents, landed document properties that is equivalent to that, and then get home. When this man, the gentleman who was implicated in the death of MPP chairman in Upper East region, you remember that?
Yes.
Paul Afoko,
yes. Gregory Afoko.
A court of competent jurisdiction gave me bail. How many years did he sleep behind him? Because a bail was given in court. They went and brought to certify the bail bond. Yet these people refuse to release him. So that one they don't see. That's why I always call them they are hypocrites.
Okay. Do stay with me. Let me bring in the MP for Swami, lawyer John Darko. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us. Now, there are issues with EOCO demanding for justification. Some of your colleague members of parliament have raised this. But are they not doing what the law says they should in terms of demanding for justification for a bail bond before they allow it to go through?
Well, I mean, I'm sure every lawyer will tell you that when bail conditions are made in such an onerous manner, effectively amounts to denial of vote, denial of bail. What is happening here, my brother, is that they are expecting someone who is still incarcerated, okay, to put together properties worth 50 million Ghana cedis. Now, these properties, once it's supposed to be justified, the bail condition says that it's supposed to be justified, you have to bring valuation of these properties. And people don't just value their homes and keep the valuation document. And so what it means is that you're going to have to put about 5 or 6 properties together, then value them. You have to get a valuer to then go and value them before you bring them to the EOCO for EOCO now to make that determination that now we've reached the 50 million Ghana. So clearly, for me, I feel that what the EOCO is doing is a complete denial of the bill which is entitled to, because they've made the conditions so onerous such that it cannot be achieved within the 48 hours as required by law.
Like, if that is the case, why not go to court to challenge it?
Well, I'm sure his lawyers are preparing to do that. What we are doing and what his lawyers will do are not mutually exclusive, are they? I believe that this is a peaceful protest. This is very peaceful manner of getting Ghanaians to know the violation of the rights of a Ghanaian. And my brother, who you interviewed earlier, says that he's surprised you are bringing in the president. Look, nobody wants to bring in the president into this, but this office, where I stand right now, forms part of the executive. It's either under the aegis or it's probably under aegis. So all the ministries that are under the executive are controlled by the president. When good things happen here, the president will be glorified. When bad things happen here, the president will take the blame.
Okay.
And so I don't understand why they find it difficult when they say that the president is the one who is in charge of this. If he calls his people to order, Wontumi will go home today. He's a Ghanaian citizen. If you believe he's done anything wrong, yes, we are for accountability. And make sure you do all these things within the confines of the law. For me, as a timeline, the kind of onerous bail condition set amounts to denial of bail and is a violation of his rights as a Ghanaian citizen.
But when you say onerous, is it that the charge is not dependent on how much he's been accused of probably what the reason why he's been picked up?
No. I mean, we know as lawyers a lot of things happen in determining bail conditions. One of them, whether the person is a slight risk. Now we know Wontumi. How can Wontumi?
But not based on the amount he's been accused of.
I'm saying that we take a lot of things into consideration. One of them will be the amount. Another one is the nature of the person you're dealing with.
Okay.
Wontumi is a well-known person, And let's look at it. On Monday, the police CID invited him. He drove from Kumasi. He came. The police CID, after investigation, gave him bail. Okay, because they knew that he wasn't a flagrant, and it was a bail they satisfied the same day. So they left him and they asked him to come the following day, and he came the following day. So clearly, this is a person who has history of reporting when the security officials meet.
Okay, all right.
And so you don't put this onerous condition on him. Somebody you know is well known, somebody who is not a flight risk, somebody who is a man of means. At least whatever you are thinking of, you know you can deal with it.
All right.
You don't put this onerous condition on him just so you incarcerate him. And this punishment should not be tolerated as the people of Ghana.
All right, I hear. I'm grateful to you, John Darko. He is MP for Swami. This has been Top Story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. Up next is Newsnight.
And tonight, MPP minority slams John Mahama administration, labeling it a dictatorship as they vow to escalate their protest against the continued detention of its Ashanti regional chairman.
The minority in parliament stands united, resolute, and unafraid. This work is not the end. It is the beginning of a multiplicity of factors and actions to be staged in the days ahead of us. It is only the beginning. A beginning of vigilance, a beginning of resistance.
And we hear how Chairman Wontumi allegedly collapsed while being interrogated by officials of the Economic and Organized Crime Office.
He was seized like a fugitive, much like a criminal, and hauled into detention without any dignity or respect owed to any citizen, let alone one who had not resisted the law. And what was the result? He collapsed.
We'll take you live to the premises of the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, where our reporters are standing by. The minority is also sitting in there or standing now, insisting they will not leave until Chairman Wontumi is let go. Also tonight, government set to plug constitutional loopholes in procedure for future removal of a Chief Justice.
There are just two key words there: stated misbehavior and incompetence. Those two words, I've tried to look for the meanings in the Constitution. I haven't seen the meanings in the Constitution, and there's no statute that really defines what it is.
We'll tell you about the new legislative framework and what it will mean for the independence of the judiciary.
In business, ENI Ghana and its partners start oil drilling in Sankofa East Track 2 offshore, a development expected to increase oil production in the country.
And it's also heard from the head coach of the Black Stars, Kojo Ado, following Ghana's defeat to Nigeria, with his promise to make the most of the lessons learned from that loss.
You want to stay with us with your views and comments, and I want to hear you on that developing story still breaking from the premises of the EOCO 05511119997. Details up to this.
See, I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, if you get your own data and call packages, falla! Made For Me bundles like the way you want them. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush your teeth and bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent. Cavity protection.
This advert is FDA approved.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with whole insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with whole insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with whole insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Dana kron kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
It's a live on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. The MPP minorities tonight still in search of the party's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entry Boisiako, known popularly as Chairman Wontumi, and has in the last few hours camped at the Economic and Organized Crimes Office demanding his release.
And help us to resist oppressors with all our will and might forevermore. And help us to resist oppressors with all our will and might forevermore. We are the new, resist oppressors with all our will and might forevermore.
And a short while ago, we're learning that the party is now getting a bit more of its supporters to the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, in addition to the minority members from Parliament already there, standing, sitting, insisting that Chairman Wontumi is released. The General Secretary has also just joined, and they are insisting they will not leave until he is let go. We'll take it there pretty shortly. But just before we came on air, the party's, the minority chief whip, Anna Dompre, addressed the media, detailing what they claim happened to Chairman Wontumi when he was interrogated, and how they claim it is only a sign of what they call a dictatorship.
We are not here to shield wrongdoing. And let me emphasize that. We are not here to shield any wrongdoing whatsoever. We are not here, again, to obstruct investigations. But we are here because a line has been crossed. A dangerous, unacceptable line that signals that state of power can now be used to humiliate, traumatize, and silence citizens under the pretext of justice. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be clear. This was not an arrest. It was a clear ambush. It was a calculated display of brute force. A man who voluntarily submitted himself to the CID in good faith, who was cooperating fully with lawful investigations, was less than 24 hours later subjected to militarized operation straight out of dictatorship playbook. He was seized like a fugitive, much like a criminal, and hauled into detention without any dignity or respect owed to any citizen, let alone one who had not resisted the law. And what was the result? He collapsed. He was hospitalized. His health broke under the sheer weight of EOCO's cruelty. Is this what justice looks like in Ghana today? Is this what our democracy has become? Chairman Wontumi may be the target today, but make no mistake, this is not just about him. This is about a dangerous pattern that is emerging under this government. The misuse of state institutions to settle political scores, the erosion of impartiality in our law enforcement agencies, and the growing culture of fear and silence that is being imposed on our political discourse. We cannot, and we will not. We will not allow EOCO, the NIB, the police, or any state agency to be weaponized for political intimidation. We will not allow our democracy to be defiled by power-drunk actors who believe they are above the law. And we will not allow the Ghanaian people to be deceived into thinking that this is ordinary justice at work.
Well, for the first time, we're hearing from the minority what they have planned next. Well, I know, don't process. This is just a beginning of a long, drawn-out protest that will spread across the country.
What we witnessed was the abuse of the law by those entrusted to uphold it. What we witnessed was a shameful chapter in our democratic journey, one that we must resist, reject, and remember. The minority in Parliament stands united, resolute, and unafraid. We will continue to speak power, truth to power. We will continue to walk the path of justice, no matter the cost, even at the peril of our lives, because we believe that Ghana must never be a country where political differences are punished with persecution, where opposition is met with oppression, where speaking out means being dragged out. Ladies and gentlemen, this work is not the end. It's the beginning of a multiplicity of factors and actions to be staged in the days ahead of us. It is only the beginning, a beginning of vigilance, a beginning of resistance, a beginning of people rising to reclaim the soul of this republic from those who trade in it for control. The EOCO, well, to the EOCO, to this government, and to those watching, we say this. The emphasis is mine. We say this. The minority is watching. The people are watching. History is watching.
And that is another prayer. I want to take you live now to the premises of the Economic and Organized Crimes Office. And as I watch now, I see there is some activity now that appears to be gaining a bit momentum there, and my colleague Kweku Asante is there for me, joining us with what is happening, but also James Avaji is also in a different part around the same enclave, giving us a different perspective on that. James, Kweku joining me right now. Also joining me is a former state prosecutor, Augustine Obo, joining me also tonight as we begin to unpack what is happening and get to the bottom of this. Stay with me. I want to bring Kweku in. Kweku, I've seen that there's some activity now beginning to swell up at the premises of the EOCO. What can you tell us? What's happening? What's the latest?
That activity was a signal of the end of the activities as we've seen here. The members of Parliament who worked from Parliament but had their drivers bring over their vehicles have now gone into their vehicles and just left. A moment ago, the minority leader, Alexander Fenyo-Makin, boarded the same vehicle as the minority chief whip, Frank Anodombre, and then together with about 4 Land Cruisers of other members of Parliament, they've just formed a convoy, and they have just left the premise of EOCO. Just 2 minutes ago also, the General Secretary, who joined in about 10 minutes ago, had also just departed. And so the members of Parliament have ended their watch here at the EOCO without having had access to Chairman Wontumi and without having heard directly from any of the top brass of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, who did not come out to meet them, despite the minority leadership insisting that they need to see them before they will leave here. And so they've been here for a little over 3 hours, and they've ended their vigil, sort of, which has been in here in the afternoon. And so the members of Parliament have just boarded their vehicles. A lot of them who did not bring their vehicles are joining that of their colleagues who brought their vehicles here, and they are leaving. The party supporters themselves are also beginning to leave at the vehicle. Begin to leave with party supporters. Then now, primarily, in fact, I'm seeing members of Parliament who are in the bucket of one of the pickups that is just leaving. The member of Parliament for Bilja Mensah, member of Parliament for Suhum, all of them in the bucket of a vehicle that is going to go to Parliament because we are now leaving this place for this. But I understand that the party insists that tomorrow they will be here to continue their protest and to lead the charge to get Chairman Wontumi to be released. Just before you came to me and just before this new development started coming up, I had just been told by someone very close to the lawyers for Chairman Wontumi that they had closed the day's attempt to meet the bill conditions and that they were not successful in meeting the bill conditions, and EOCO were not backing down on reviewing the bill conditions. asked whether or not they will be taking the route to the High Court that had been advised by the First Deputy Speaker in the chair in Parliament, they were a little coy about that, except to say that they continue to demand that the EOCO revises the bill condition and release Chairman Wontumi. So everyone's two things. The members of Parliament, together with the party leadership who came here, have just now begun to disperse. They've begun to leave the space, and they are joining vehicles, some of them sitting in the back of pickups to make their way back to Parliament for a close of the day's event. The second update is that it's a close of day. They were not able to meet the bill conditions for Chairman Wontumi, and Chairman Wontumi is assured will be in custody of EOCO at least for the next 8 hours up until tomorrow, when lawyers and families will begin to try again to see if they can meet the very stringent bill condition of 50 million cedis and 2 sureties to be justified.
And Kweku, but the minority, when they first arrived, they were very clear when they talked to you that they were going to stay there tonight until they secure the release of Chairman Wontumi. How did it come about that they changed their mind so quickly, a few hours after they arrived, and they have now left?
Well, I suspect it may be because they've just not been successful in getting to speak to any officers of EOCO. As they began to disperse, I did beckon to the minority leader and his chief whip to try and get some understanding from them as to why exactly they are doing so. Because while they were on the floor, the minority leader did insist quite forcefully that they are going to be here for quite a long time to drum home the demand. In fact, at some point, the information we're getting was that they were perhaps going to be lying on the road this very evening to press home that demand. At some point, plastic chairs were brought. Members of Parliament began taking their seats on these plastic chairs right in front of the EOCO offices. But after about 3 hours, 30 minutes of waiting to try and see if they can talk to officials of EOCO, in particular, they were mentioning Raymond Arthur, the executive director of EOCO, without success, and their demand for the bill conditions to be revised, all without any success. I guess the party top brass have decided to advise themselves and leave and come back to fight another day. But the situation now is that the police are now taking over the situation following the members of Parliament leaving. They are now asking party supporters and others who are packed motorbikes in the middle of the road right opposite EOCO to move, and so that they can move the party supporters to the other side of the road. In fact, the route control vans and other things that have already been here have now started moving to the frontage of the EOCO headquarters, and the motorbikes are now moving away to the next side of the road. They are attempting to free the double carriage road right in front of EOCO, which has been blocked by the minority leadership since they came here to drum home the demand for Chairman Wontumi to be released. As to what exactly has led to the minority leadership and the party supporters to have a change of plans and to now leave despite the pledge to stay here overnight, we cannot say for now. But the watch is over. The members of Parliament have left, and party supporters are beginning to also disperse.
Quickly, you mentioned when he was seated on the floor, I'm talking about the minority leader together with his other colleagues, what he told the press. This is what you're referring to.
They are better than CID headquarters. Those in charge must be professional. What is happening to Wontumi can happen to me today, tomorrow. It can happen to my respected senior here, tomorrow. My mother here. Enough is enough. We are not just going to walk away. We are not just going to walk away. We'll be here. We'll be here.
Since you came, have you had any word?
No further comments. I've made my point. Thank you very much.
So that there is Alexander Fenyo marking earlier, a couple of hours back, when they decided to sit on the floor, insisting that they will be there. But as you just heard Kweku tell us, they have left now from the premises of the Economic and Organized Crimes Office. We're trying to get clarity from the minority why they've changed their initial stance on this particular matter. They sat on the floor for a while. Chairs were brought in at some point. Then they began to walk up and down that stretch in front of EOCO, and then they decided now to stand right in front of the EOCO office. And just before they left, they were actually holding hands together with the General Secretary of the MPP, and were very determined to stay there tonight, as you've just heard him say just about 2 hours ago. But they've now changed their stance on the matter and have left the premises of the EOCO. My colleague Abaji is also within that same enclave and has also been monitoring how this is affecting commuters there, creating traffic, and many of you are heading home and using that area. He's joining us with an update. And you've been talking to party supporters who also join the minority and the party executives, but also observing what this had meant for the entire enclave. And we know that's a very, very busy area, James.
Yes, Evans, exactly. I will talk to you about the conversations among party members shortly, but as regard the traffic situation, I must say that the police have been doing a great job in directing traffic here. And just as I'm speaking to you, the first couple of vehicles are now moving on the two stretches in front of the EOCO building. From about 4 p.m., the road, which is the Atamels High Street, right at the traffic light in front of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, was close to traffic. Both lanes were close to traffic. For those who use here, cars coming from the Central Business District, which is the AMA area towards the Atamels High Street, there are 2 lanes. All of those 2 lanes have been blocked. In fact, the police vehicles, the FP vehicles, as well as the water cannons, have taken one full stretch of the roads, whereas the other where the MPs have been sitting. For those moving from the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum traffic light towards the AMA, that part of the road, which is a 2-lane, have also been blocked since 4 p.m. up until just a minute ago when the police have opened traffic. But what they did was, for all of the cars coming from the AMA, when they get to the hockey pitch junction here, they would have to take their left towards the Tama Station area and then take their right to the NLA frontage and continue with their journey onto the Atamos High Street. And those coming from the High Street would also use same route back to the Hockey Peak Junction here and then move towards the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. And traffic have been flowing smoothly, except for the exact time that they closed the road. That was when things went a bit chaotic, but the police had moved in to direct traffic smoothly and things are under control. And so now I can confirm to you and listeners who use this route that the entire stretch has been open, and so traffic has come back to normal. About the conversation between the party folks, Evans, while things were ongoing, the MPs were sitting down on the street chatting. The party folks were also having things among themselves. It became an NDC NPP conversation, charge conversation. Some were supporting what the MPs were doing, while others were in opposition to it. They said this is uncalled for and that there's a proper quarters to address this. It was fascinating the level of knowledge some of them have about this issue. There are some who are here who are not party members, just general members of the public. One of them tells me he's here as a Tuesday when Chairman Wontumi was here. There were some sharing of money, which he got a substantial amount from here. And so that's the main reason he is here, waiting on them to see if that those goodies could come again. And so varied members of the public were here for different reasons. For now, everybody is filing off briefly. The police visibility, those police officers who are using the police visibility motorbikes, dozens of them are in the median of the road as the public is filing past as we speak. And so the crowd is dispersing briefly, and we'll be here to see how things turn out. But tomorrow morning, we'll be here to see how they proceed with that again, Evans.
James, thank you very much. And so if you want to use that area, the Accra Central Business District area, the EOCO offices, as you just heard Abaji say, it's now open to traffic. I know many of you are trying to find other routes in and out of that particular enclave. I want to bring in Augustine Gobo. He is a former state prosecutor and lawyer, joins us on the line right now. Mr. Gobo, thank you very much for staying with us. The fundamental concern and complaint of the minority is that, yes, he's been granted bail, Chairman Wontumi, but he was granted bail in the sum of 50 million. And they believe that is simply an excuse to continue to detain him because he's definitely going to struggle to come up with that. What do you make of that complaint? Are they right to suggest that this, although every offense in this country is bailable, the state finds ways, such as hefty bail conditions, to still hold on to individuals because they want to do so? Well, what's your take on that?
Good evening to your listeners. I don't think this is a difficulty. At the beginning, if they could have gone to court for the bail when they sensed that danger was coming, they could have gone to court for variation of the bail bond given to them, and the court would have substituted a court bail for it. Because the law says that within 48 hours, if you cannot release the person on bail, you release the person on bail, not to grant bail, release the person on bail, then you have to take the person to court. So by granting the person bail in the sum of 50 million Ghana cedis, if the person cannot secure it, then you are bound to take the person to court. The person can also go to court that you are violating my right by keeping me in custody or granting me a bail condition that I cannot fulfill. So his lawyers could have gone to court for variation of the bail terms. And in such situation, the court would have substituted its own bail for the accused person or for the suspect. Because it's now a suspect, he has not been charged. So instead of all this that they are doing, they could have gone to the court. Just attach the bail information to the court.
I mean, that will take some time, right? That will take some time, at least another day or two.
No. He has been granted bail. In fact, he's been granted bail by them, but he has not been released. So they could have gone to court. The law allows them to go to court for variation of the court bail or of the bail.
How quickly can they
and that would have been easier for them.
How quickly could they have
And that is why I'm always saying that I always prefer court bail. I always prefer court bail to police bail. They could have gone to court from morning when they sensed that danger was coming. And when I heard it yesterday that 50 million, I thought Wontumi could easily provide 50 million. But if it has become difficult, because he can also deposit the money. It doesn't have to be a property alone. He can deposit the money. And I thought Wontumi was going to provide a 50 million check so that he will go home. But if it is becoming difficult for him, then they could have gone to court for a court bail.
But on a bigger point,
he doesn't have to call for.
On a bigger point, is 50 million a fair bail condition?
When you are involved in 500 million scandal or anything, they can give you 50 million. Is that 10%? So it depends. It depends on. I am not aware of what has happened there. So if they have allegation or if they have evidence or they have facts supposing that the money involved is 500 million and they have given you 10%, they have given. But look, it is a police bail. It is not a court bail. You can always go to court. So I don't actually understand why they are going over this matter as if the end has come. No, they could have gone to court from yesterday. They could have gone to court. A court would have granted bail. For all you know, a court could have granted bail if you check the bail which was granted to Edubuahi. The court could have granted bail in such a truth that they could have been executed. Now, when you are getting yourself involved in a larger sum, then you must secure some money that if there should be explosion, you can use that money to secure your freedom.
Oh, guys, thank you.
Because normally it is a percentage of it.
I'm
grateful that the court will look at it for the bail.
I'm grateful that you joined us with that clarification on that subject. He is a former state prosecutor. And you're still live here on Newsline on Joy 99.7 FM. As you've just been hearing from our reporters on the ground, the minority, they have dispersed now. although they had indicated before that they will stay there until they secure the release of Chairman Wontumi. Charles Oredu is MP for Ebrim. He was there. I saw him also seated on the floor. Charles, I'm grateful that you could join us here on News Night. You have dispersed. Why?
Well, yes. Thank you for the opportunity. All right. So this matter that to do with legally and politically. If I heard what the other, panelists or the person interviewed earlier, he was looking at it legally, and that is only what we are doing. So legally, I want to ask a lawyer. So it's legal team, looking at it legally. They go to court and to see if the bond can be carried. But politically, we are also enjoying to also pursue this matter politically. Yeah, because if you look at the issues clearly, it's a political witch hunt. Why must you set this bond to that figure? It's so honorable. Again, we make the point that Mawun to me is a new person. Who doesn't know Mawun in Ghana? If you go to Kumasi, if you come to Accra, he has some business concerns that people know where he can easily be located. So why do you stage this whole thing to make it look like Chemawun to me is somebody who, when left, can abscond? We don't think that this is the right to approach this matter. Again, we've also made the case that Chemawun to me is not well. His doctors, we were told today that the doctors have come out to say that he's not well. So he should be allowed, to have medical care. Why are they making life so comfortable? So why are they making life so difficult?
Yeah, I mean, so from everything I've heard you say, you still have serious concerns about his whereabouts, how he's been treated. It comes back to my original question. Why have you dispersed then?
So, we're done with today. We came to make a point to make to let Ghana know, to let the officials of EOCO and all those who are following this matter know that this is what we are talking about. These are the issues they are raising. Yeah, so we've gone back to Parliament to assess what we've done today, and then take it up from tomorrow. Remember, we started in Parliament on the floor. The leader of Sangene, Maki, raised this matter with the Speaker. The Speaker gave some responses, but we thought that, the responses were not adequate. And then from there, we marched to the offices of EOCO. So we are back in Parliament trying to assess the situation, and then we'll take it up from tomorrow.
Thank you very much. And that there is Charles Oredu, who is MP for Ebrim, speaking to us about what is happening with Chairman Wontumi. So live on News 9 on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world pretty shortly, but we can do some business now. And James is here.
Hi, Evans. Also coming up in business this evening, ENI Ghana and its partners start oil drilling in Sankofa East Track 2 offshore, a development expected to increase oil production in the country, and government hint of removing more taxes and levies in the 2025 media budget review to boost compliance. We hear from the presidential advisor on the economy, Seth Tekbe. Now, business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, Syntex tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together. everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush like feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, dear Niham Sa. Stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it this way. You hear my tina watch. New it's now watch. No, be a baby, someone some demoni in us. Dear Niham say. Fair quiet, yes, sim Biaro Association Ontario. Use Stay Soft and Nihian it's now watch. Nani boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener. A year near says, sir. Choose to Stay Soft. No, who's so say, no. FDID a dreading crowd to yatu.
Sasso, si come tonton preko. Sasso, si come tonton preko. Edrana drami ne buseshe. Ye hakesia ne malaria. Minya me kone me sasso spray. Every mosquito study run away. Come on tonton preko. Sasso, mi se come tonton preko. Come on tonton preko. Sasso, come tonton preko. Nani sham ne die e demonstronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to Business on News Night. I am James Ishan. Let's settle for the details now. First off, ENI Ghana, together with its partners Vitol Upstream Ghana Limited and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, has kicked off the Sankofa East Side Track 2, marking a significant milestone in the further development of Ghana's upstream energy sector. The following report has more.
The Deep Value Driller, a state-of-the-art drill ship, has started activities offshore Ghana following completion of operations in Côte d'Ivoire. Equipped with advanced automated technology, the rig ranks among the most advanced in the world in operational performance and safety. A statement from ENI said the activity reflects the partners' ongoing commitment to unlocking additional value from the offshore Cape 3 Points block, ensuring long-term production, sustainability, and contributing to Ghana's energy security. Ahead of the campaign, ENI and its partners, Vitol and GNPC, carried out comprehensive stakeholder engagement programs along Ghana's coastline to ensure open communication and promote collaboration with communities.
And that was a news desk report. Now, government has hinted at plans to rationalize certain taxes and levies in the upcoming 2025 media budget review as part of efforts to improve tax compliance and efficiency. Speaking at the Graphic EcoBank Economic Forum in Accra, Presidential Advisor on the Economy, Seth Tekbe, emphasized on the need to simplify the structure by revisiting the more streamlined approach that existed before the introduction of the value-added tax.
You know, when you are doing tax reform, you do it, gingerly, because if you are not careful, you also erode the tax. So the levies that were removed is phase one. As somebody said, there's a VAT study that has been done, all of them. And so the mid-year review, and in the budget and going forward, some of the levies, more levies will have to be removed, just as we did pre-Kumiprep, post-Kumiprep. We are only going back and reintroducing the tax regime that we had, before the VAT was introduced. We only have to clean it and make it neat so that businesses stop adding the levies, all the number of levies.
Setekbe as the presidential advisor on the economy. Now, Sidi Ould Tah of Mauritania has been elected president of the African Development Bank Group at the bank's annual meetings held in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The following report has more.
Tah was elected by the bank's board of governors, comprising finance and economic ministers, all central bank governors of the bank group's 81 regional and non-regional member countries. The board is the highest decision-making authority for the bank group. The results were announced by Niale Kaba, Minister of Planning and Development for Côte d'Ivoire and the chairman of the board of governors of the bank group. The winning candidate is required to obtain at least 50.01% of both the regional and non-regional votes. A Mauritanian national, Tah brings over 35 years of experience in African and international finance. He served as president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa for 10 years, from 2015, where he led a full transformation that quadrupled the bank's balance sheet, secured a AAA rating, and positioned it among the top-rated development banks focused on Africa.
That was a news desk report. Finally, the Chartered Institute of Restructuring and Insolvency Practitioners has bemoaned the culture of appointing family and friends as directors, especially among small and medium companies. Felix Ado, president of the institute, explained that the practice often hinders the development of small and medium indigenous companies into large and global companies, leading to its collapse. He spoke at a public lecture organized by the institute on the theme Unlocking Business Resilience, how CIRA empowers companies to recover from distress and thrive.
The husband, the wife being the board directors, and then the daughter being the treasurer, and probably the son being the company secretary. That was then. Now, as a company secretary, the law requires you to have particular education, training, and the law lists very specific requirements as to what a company secretary does. Okay, so it can't be just your daughter or your son or a friend who you enter as a company secretary. No, because the company secretary is the basis, is the gatekeeper of good governance for the company.
Felix Ado is the president of the Chartered Institute of Restructuring and Insolvency Practitioners. And that's all for business on Newsnight with me, James Ishan. Over to Evans.
James, thank you very much. Still live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll be sharing your messages on the stories we've had so far with you shortly. And you can send me your messages. 055-1111-997 is a WhatsApp line that you can send your messages to. You're still live here on Newsnight. I want to take you to Parliament now, where today there has been some more details thrown out about the intention by government now to give clarity around the rules for the removal of the Chief Justice. We've been hearing a bit more from the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, who first dropped that hint on Tuesday that the government will be coming to Parliament with some proposals around what to do and the clarity around some of the procedures specified in Article 146 in the Constitution for the removal of the Chief Justice in the wake of the controversy that the current process surrounding the suspended Chief Justice Tokono has generated. Listen to him in an interview with my colleague, Kweku Asante.
Removal of Superior Court judges, starting from the EC chairperson when she was removed, to subsequent petitions, some of which were dismissed, until this present situation that we have of the sitting Chief Justice being taken through the process, have generated public interest and debate, and lawyers and jurists have had their bite. I as a lawyer, have also looked at it, and there are just two key words there. stated misbehavior and incompetence. Those two words, I've tried to look for the meanings in the Constitution. I haven't seen the meanings in the Constitution, and there's no statute that really defines what it is. And the Constitution simply says that the 5 people should take a decision on what it is. And if they are satisfied that a particular conduct amounts to stated misbehavior and a particular level of performance of one's task can be described as incompetence. And even then, the 5 should not be lawyers, all of them. 2 should be Supreme Court judges. The other 3 should not be lawyers, should not be members of parliament, should not be members of council of state. They should be ordinary citizens, and the Constitution leaves it in their hands to decide what stated misbehavior and what incompetence are. Some people have said, no, we need to legislate on that. We need to further elaborate and all that. It might be helpful to do so, but the framers of the Constitution knew exactly what they were doing when they crafted it that way. So let's see what it is that the Justice Ministry thinks about it and will bring before us.
The Majority Leader has also been responding to questions about capping the Supreme Court after the President nominated 7 new justices to the highest court.
Yeah, there's been a lot of argument about the need for capping the number of the Supreme Court judges, but there's also always been a pushback in terms of the workload. And I recall that when we're even vetting the current Chief Justice, I had a proposal that we should have a separate constitutional court. In some jurisdictions, you see, what you call the Supreme Court is actually the constitutional court. And as a constitutional court, they focus only on constitutional matters. But the argument has always been that our Supreme Court is both an appeals court and a constitutional court. So the cases that gain prominence are the constitutional matters, which are not many. And it gives a misleading perception that the work is not that much. Why do we need all these numbers? But
let's get a bit more on this proposal that may come before Parliament, as we've just heard the Majority Leader say, and Kuku is with me, a parliamentary correspondent. Kuku, very briefly, what more have we learnt about what government may bring before the House?
Can you say that again?
What more have we learnt about this, constitutional provision that government intends to provide some clarity about when it comes to the removal of Chief Justice? We've heard from the Majority Leader. Do you have any more specifics on this?
Not yet. Our understanding is that the minister himself in the coming days will come to Parliament with this legislation. Only that the specific question I asked the Majority Leader on this is, what exactly is the details? Do they intend to amend the Constitution, or they intend to come by way of some subsidiary legislation? And he confirmed that will be a subsidiary legislation, either a bill or a regulation, but it's more likely going to be a regulation. As to when exactly it's going to come, we do not know. But like you heard him say there, the two expectations will be to define stated misbehavior and incompetence, as well as lay the step-by-step process that petitioners and the state have to go through when petitions are lodged against Superior Court judges.
Thank you very much. And we'll get you some latest information we are getting around this Chairman Wontumi matter pretty shortly on possibly the charges that have been filed against him and why he is currently still in the custody, we believe, of the Economic and Organized Crimes Office. We can do some sports now, and Ms. Bao is here with the latest.
Even so, just one day away from the Hit FM Rep Your Jersey, the big club football festival happening at the Aviation Social Centre this Saturday, and that's where we'll be watching the finals of the Champions League, Inter Milan versus Paris Saint-Germain, and there's going to be a host of activities that will be happening on the day. It's going to start from 12 noon, even pretty much early in the morning, all the way till the game ends, and some after party that will still take place there, and hopefully everybody will make their way there. But yesterday, Ghana lost to Nigeria by 2-1 in the second semi-final game of the Unity Cup, and head coach Otuado just mentioned that he did pick some vital lessons from that game ahead of Ghana's World Cup qualifier in September. Particularly, though, he was impressed with some young players who made the most of the chance that was handed to them.
The first half we were not aggressive enough. It didn't make click from the team. Like I said, it's not always easy, especially if we haven't played that often together. I think Nigeria had a more matured team who can maybe adapt faster, and we had problems, to get into the duels, to press well, but also to defend well. But second half was really good, I have to say. Even though we lost, I'm happy for the second half. Really saw some talents, like I said, I don't want to mention names, but we really took some players, really saw them really positive, and looking forward to see them again.
That's head coach Otuado there. And just a few transfer updates. And Maximiliano Allegri, as we understand, has signed a contract to become AC Milan's new manager. And we understand he's going to be back to the club with all agreements having been put in place now. And also Chelsea, we understand, have also agreed to sign Ipswich striker Liam Delap. The striker has a £30 million release clause, and Chelsea have activated that, and we understand that Enzo Maresca was particularly interested in this player.
So Delap is going to Chelsea.
He's going to Chelsea.
I'm very, very happy.
Why? United wanted him.
We obviously, he's not a player that we should be spending. We have too many of those players on strikers who come in. Already. We currently.
But he's a decent player. It was Ipswich Town, scored 12 goals and
12 goals.
Yes, at Ipswich Town
in a season.
Ipswich Town.
And you want to buy him to solve your striking
Ipswich
problem.
Town, is decent. 23 years of age.
Another team in the EPL will fall for it. So it's good that he's going.
Well, for Arsenal, though, we understand they are closing in on the Benjamin Sesko deal.
They've given up on Gyökeres?
Well, they've got an eye on him, but we understand they are also interested in Benjamin Sesko. So I'm sure they are weighing the two to see which one will be quite affordable for them. But you want to go for
Gyökeres? Yes.
Oh, you want to go for him?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
So it's good that they're looking elsewhere.
Okay, we'll see.
He worked with Amorim, so
yeah. Anyway, well, that's some updates I have for you, Evans.
Thank you very, very much. Now, MP for Abetifi Brian Champon has formed an exploratory committee to assess a potential presidential bid ahead of the party's upcoming primaries. Now, the former Greek minister, in a statement, cited calls from party members and extensive consultations with family and supporters as key factors in his decision. The committee, tasked with engaging stakeholders and grassroots members, will evaluate the alignment of his vision with the aspirations of the MPP. Now, a report is expected within 4 weeks. My colleague Elton Broby gives us a wrap of what else is contained in that particular statement.
Well, the committee, he knows, will engage with grassroots members, key stakeholders and constituents across the country to elevate whether his vision aligns with the aspiration of the party and the Ghanaian people. The committee, according to him, is expected to present its findings within 4 weeks. Now, he says that this dedicated committee shares his commitment not only to discipline and unity within the party, but also job creation, food security, youth and infrastructure development, safety and security, and good governance within the country. Dr. Champon described his journey in the MPP as lifelong and deeply personal, citing his experience as a grassroots organizer, party staffer, 4-term member of parliament, cabinet minister, and a long-time party financier. These roles, he says, and experiences have granted him invaluable insight into the sacrifice, dedication, and strategic vision required to build and sustain the foundation of the MPP. And he affirms his loyalty to the MPP and expressed confidence in the party's ability to overcome current challenges and lead Ghana to a brighter future.
But has he got what it takes to beat the party's 2024 flag bearer, Mahmoud Bawumia, should he finally decide to contest? Well, the former vice president has certainly urged party delegates to re-elect him as a flag bearer. This comes after he told party supporters in London earlier this morning that it is difficult to win the presidency as a first-time candidate, seemingly expressing confidence of leading the party to victory as a candidate in 2028.
If you look at our political history suggests that it is usually very difficult for a first-time presidential candidate to win an election in Ghana. I don't know why that is, but Ghanaians want you to come more than one. So there is a sense that in 2028, NDC is going to bring a candidate for the first time. I believe we will have an advantage, all things being equal, over that new candidate coming in 2028. I believe we will have a very big advantage. The second set of reasons that I believe we are going to win is because NDC is actually in government. Why do I say so? In opposition, they made so many promises and told a lot of stories about what they were going to do. And they've now come into government. It's not easy to do propaganda when you are in government. It's very easy to do propaganda in opposition.
And that there is the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. For years, pupils at Kupiliga Basic School knelt and sat on bare floors to learn. But after Joy News highlighted their plight in the Crumbling Start series, help finally came. The National Security Coordinator, DCOP Abdul Osman Razak, has donated desks and pledged to build a new classroom block for the school. Emmanuel Jivenu reports from the Talingsi district of the Upper East region.
For years, pupils of Kupiliga Basic School in the Talingsi district of the Upper East region sat on the bare floor to learn.
Yes. We don't have chairs, that's why we are sitting in the floor like that. As we ourselves, our mothers cannot buy chairs for us. We are not happy at all.
I'm not happy because I have not have chairs.
Their plight was highlighted on Joy News as part of the education series Crumbling Start. Soon after, the National Security Coordinator, DCOP Abdul Osman Razak, responded. Hakim Duwijwa is the Deputy Director of Human Security at the National Security.
To the students, know this. We see you, we hear you, and we are with you. You are the future of this nation, and we will not let the future sit on the floor.
In all, 60 monodecks and 5 teachers' tables were donated to the school. There is also a promise to renovate the existing building and construct a new classroom block for the pupils.
We will renovate this structure and build a permanent one in addition to that. Bet more for us.
For the chief of Kupiliga, the sight of children finally seated at desks brought overwhelming joy.
I was very, very sad whenever I visit this school. But now, they make like I rush from my seat bed. So thank you, National Security. Thank you, School for Life. Thank you, Johnny.
Receiving the furniture on behalf of the Talingsi District Directorate of Education, Charles Zoga said, the donation marks an important beginning, but emphasized the need for continued support.
Having this here is the first step, a quick response to the needs of our children and the needs of our staff as well.
Blessed Doc, one of the pupils, expressed her gratitude for the support that finally brought dignity to their classroom.
We thank you, National Security. We thank you, School for Life. We thank Joy News for making this possible.
The school still needs more teachers, more books, and housing for staff. For pupils like Justice and Blessing, the ground would no longer be their desk. They would now sit with dignity and learn with a future in sight. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Kupiliga, Talingsi District, Upper East Region.
And just before we go, a few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. Now, Abla Rose says, after 8 years of bad governance and economic mismanagement, when the reset button has been set in motion and Ghanaians are enjoying everything good in governance, demonstration is what the minority can resort to. And this from Eunice says there is something you do and even a kid will know your intentions. Why place that hefty bail bond on Wontumi when you know he is not a flight risk? Please, Mr. President, can your men call your men to order? At the time when we used to say, I will show you where power lies, died when we embraced democracy. This is shameful. Mr. President, second chances don't usually happen, show a difference, he says. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening.